What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Jaguars Fan Battle podcast. Today is August 15th, which means we are celebrating our first Victory Tuesday. Officially, unofficial. I don't know. What preseason counts as, but it's a Victory Tuesday, and I'm joined today here on this Victory Tuesday with Cody Cold Gaming. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And our special guest. What do you want to call us
Just
to
call
call
me,
you, Nika?
yeah, you just call me Nika.
Nika.
Miss
Okay.
Nika, put some respect on it,
Nika.
dude.
Nika. Queen Nika.
Queen Nika.
Nika.
There you go.
We'll go into a little bit more about that later on.
All right.
As we do with other guests, we kind of want to introduce the Jaguars Fan Battle world, to our special guest, Nika. You may have seen her before. She has been on the main Fan Battle podcast show several times, but this will be the first time on the real show where we talk about the real
Real
team.
show.
The real show. So first off, Nika, if you don't want to, go ahead and start off with First Teal. Talk about that. What is First Teal? What do you do there?
First and Teal is my Jaguars podcast that I have with my friend Shayla, who I went to high school with, Douglas Anderson. If you can imagine that, a performing arts school where we had no sports and we talk sports. It's just two ladies. We would just have these conversations after games. And, I think my brother heard one of them. He was like, you two should do a podcast with all the talking you two do and arguing back and forth. You should do a podcast. And really what sparked that was the Luke Jokel draft. If you can imagine, that kind of started all of that.
Spark some feelings, I bet.
It did. I was more on the, well, let's wait and see. They have a plan. And she was more of the, what the F? And she was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been doing, this is going to our third year of doing it. And so we just get on, talk about the Jaguars or anything else that's going on in NFL. And I guess from a lady's point of view of what we see and, what we love and what we don't love about this team.
Yeah, I think there's a common misconception across all sports that sports, spectating especially, is just for guys, right? But if you go to a Jaguars game, I mean, you see a lot of female fans out there, not just there for the booze and for the social part, but actually to watch the game and partake. And I think that's a common misconception that, maybe is getting dispelled.
Right. Like we're heavily involved. We're season ticket holders. We go to away games. We talk about it. We consume ESPN sports talk radio just like anybody else does.
Nice. So First and Teal, pretty cool. We'll talk a little bit more of that as we close out the show. But fan of the year. So I don't know if anybody had seen the banner, broadcasting that this show will be on tonight. There was a picture, and the picture I'd pulled was Nika holding up one of the picks of the Jaguars. If you kind of want to go into the story of all that and take as much time as you want and need.
Okay. Well, back in 2020, the NFL launched the Fan of the Year. And of course, this is during COVID. And, everything's at a standstill, stop. They're having football games and there's not very many people out there. And I had a ex-coworker call me, and he's telling me, hey, I entered you into this contest with the Jaguars. You might go to the Super Bowl. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Whatever. I'm like, I had never heard of it. Thanks. There's no way I'm winning this. And, he called me back. He said, the Jaguars have been calling me. They've asked me about you. And he said they keep asking and talking. Like they've talked to him for an hour or two, like combining all these calls. I'm like, okay, that sounds nice. Again, I'm thinking, not a chance. And after a while, I didn't hear anything. So I'm thinking, I didn't win this thing. Until I get a tweet, like it's in the middle of November, and my picture's on the NFL website. And my friend's like, is this you? I'm like, holy crap. So I'm looking, and I'm seeing my name, my picture with all these other fans. And I really didn't talk to the Jaguars, I would say, till after Thanksgiving. And we had like Zoom things. And during this whole time, it's like I said, it's COVID. You're not really going anywhere. So it was a nice, it's the group of us having this experience that's brand new that we could only talk about with each other. It was something nice and exciting to experience when everything else is kind of, up in the air or on hold. And I got to do the Duval shout out at the Bears game, and full of all those that full stadium of all 10 people. So that was nice. And they sent 3 other nominees to the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking, okay, that's it. We got some okay swag, football. I got a Chris Carter signed helmet, a jersey where I don't know why, but mine, everybody else says fan of the year on the back, but mine just says FOTY hashtag 2020. Why? And I think after a while, I think the Jaguars forgot to get me a jersey because I didn't get mine till like February after everybody else. But I think about another month passed, and then they sent out an email saying, hey, we're going to send you to the draft. I'm like, oh, bet, nice, consolation prize. So we go to Cleveland, and we have that number 1 pick. And I have to say, I didn't know about as far as going up on stage till I would say like right beforehand, because they actually did come to me and say, hey, you're going to go up on stage, act surprised, and just kind of go with the flow. And it still was surreal. It still was a surprise to me that, hey, I'm going to go on this stage in front of millions of people are watching.
Was it butterflies like instantly?
Not really. I was just kind of like at the draft down there in the inner circle, there is this atmosphere, this energy down there, and you just kind of get into it. So my thing was like, okay, I'm representing Jacksonville. I got to make a moment of it. And then at the same time, like I'm a Jim Rome disciple, I'm a clone, and I'm thinking Jim Rome's going to flip over this, so I just get up there, I'm just hype. And, I just sit down in that chair. I make it my own, throw my arms out. And after I sit down in that chair, I'm like, holy crap. It's one of those chairs where you got to rock to get up. And how the hell am I going to get up out of this seat on national TV with everybody watching, And how long it takes for that first round pick. And Roger comes and he has the card. He's like, "That's what you want?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we want." And he was like, "Well, where do you want to stand?" I said, "I'll stand over here." He says the name, cheer. I get to hold up the jersey, and the rest is history.
So this was with Roger Goodell?
Yes.
Tell me, I have a question. How loud were the boos when Roger first came out on the stage?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even though it was loud. And he does that whole thing like, come on, boo. And it's we're all trying to boo behind mask at the same time. Remember, everybody's wearing masks down there, but it was okay because it was cold, guys. It was right there on that water, and it was cold. And I'm Florida girl. I don't think we packed warm clothes, but it wasn't enough. We were freezing. But yeah, that moment there, it was, I always come back and like, did I really do that? Like, this is, even though Trevor wasn't there, like I got to go up on stage before the first pick.
Right.
Hold up your jersey and do that. Like, and every now and then I still get recognized from that. Like, hey, you the girl on stage, you're the lady on stage, And it's nice to have that moment, for Jaguars to have this special quarterback, and I got to be a part of that.
I mean, there's most fans will never even be able to make it to the draft in person, let alone be up on stage. I mean, that's incredible.
Right. And like I almost like feel like that didn't happen, or I try to relive it. Not say relive it every day, but I go back and look at the video. I go back and look at that moment.
Man,
I mean, who wouldn't?
I got this like stupid burning question in my head. I'm just gonna ask it. What does Roger Goodell smell like?
Oh.
Whoa!
I don't. Okay. I had the mask on, so I don't know. I really don't know. And I think and it ended up being like a long weekend, because on day 3 we stayed, and they brought us all back out on stage, and I got to call a draft pick, Luke Farrell. And exactly when I saw that we were drafting a tight end when they gave me the card before I went out. I was like, yeah, Jags, Jags, they were looking for a tight end, but I said, I don't think this is what they're looking for. But here's their tight end,
Yeah.
And at the time, I wish I could have did something backstage like tweet, but they were like watching us like a hawk.
Yeah.
To do that. But we all got to take a picture with him on stage, and as we're going, he's come next to me. He said, I heard you had a pretty wild weekend. I said, yeah. I said, I'm pretty sure you know that. Like, there's nothing the NFL does by chance. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you guys knew exactly who I was, knew you were bringing me on stage. I said, all of that was planned. And I look back, I remember my site, when you get the inner circle, and you can have any of those seats. Mine was the only one with my ticket that matched that said reserved.
Nice.
There was no other seat marked like that. So I was like, yeah, NFL, it wasn't by chance. But now I'm a former fan of the year. There has been two after me, Latricia Henderson, and currently the reigning Tyler Derby. It has been amazing to watch this family grow. You get to meet other fans and how they fan, and we kind of embrace them and answer questions and kind of help them through the process, because nobody else knows what this feels like on the other side.
Right.
And as this contest has gotten bigger, they got a sponsor now, because we didn't have a sponsor. Now it's Captain Morgan, and they're getting all this other stuff that's going with it. And it can be nasty. It can be really nasty. Even some of the nominees who were in it, they wanted to give it up. They wanted to call the teams and say, hey, I don't want this anymore. Is there a way, can we back out? I don't want my name in it. I don't want the price. Like, they did not want it.
Why?
Is the backlash of the fans. People see now, they're seeing what you can get with it, the recognition, and they feel like somebody else should have been picked, or they were better choice, or somebody else they wanted was a better choice.
Yeah, the price of fame.
Right. And it's not really like that. And we try to tell people who go, and I can tell with you guys, like, the nomination process as far as picking the person for the fan for each team, it's not how many nominations you get. It's what's written in the nomination. I only had one nomination, just one. And whatever I guess I gave my coworker back his passion for the game. Like, he had lost it. And he said, working with me, seeing what I did, he said it just gave that all back to him. So it's how you affect others. Is, what do you do in your community? How do you fan? There were other people I felt could have been a better choice. I've seen other fans like, oh, they're a much better fan than I was. But, whatever's meant for you at that time is meant for you. So I just tell people, quality over quantity. So don't worry about stuffing the box. If you get the nomination, the Jaguars really do their homework on who they choose, because they call the person that nominates you and interviews them. So I just tell people, make sure that is somebody who knows you really well, and you have a good shot.
That's awesome. Could you? I do have a quick question about kind of like behind the scenes stuff. So when you got the piece of paper showing who was getting selected and when, how far ahead was that pick? Like, was it 2 picks before? Was it?
It was a little bit before, because they had to bring us back there and walk us from where we were sitting, and I had to wait back there a few picks. Before I got it, and I kept the card, but I did end up mailing it to Luke Farrell for him to have.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, sweet.
And he actually sent me back like a handwritten letter, and like he had his own draft card that he signed for me. So I have that. It's just put up because I don't know where to put it yet and display it. And also what I got from the draft, which I found out it was my first draft, they give you gifts or whatever to represent whatever that city. So what is that? Cleveland again, like the records, those records y'all saw, we actually got a record. I didn't open mine, and I have it in a frame. So I haven't opened it, but I have it in a frame, and they only gave out basically 12.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a cool experience, man. But it sounds like you deserved it though. So
thank you.
I want to go through the comments before we keep moving forward. So Josh Allen from Facebook says, greatest fan of the year ever.
Aww.
Obviously he's talking about Nika. Matthew Briggs, the only Jags fan I can stand. Can stand. Notice his words. He didn't say he liked you, but he can stand you. So,
I'll take it.
I'll take it. And then Josh
Baby
Allen
step.
says, haha, Jim Rome was my fave growing up in honor of Jim Racker. So we'll move into that after we finish going through these comments. We'll go in a little more about Jim Rome. Facebook user says Goodell smells like a large bowl of peanut M&Ms. Okay. Gabriel Ruiz says Josh Dobbs forward pass. And Miles Jack wasn't down. So,
Oh, good Lord.
David Michael says Duval. We'll take it. Welcome. And then Gabe says Josh Allen is a moron. Okay. All right. Hey, this is fan battle.
Which one?
This is fan battle, all right? All right.
You talking about the Bills, Josh Allen?
Right.
Yeah.
So back to Nika and who she is. Jim Rome. So going a little bit about Jim Rome.
Yeah, I started listening to Jim Rome. Oh goodness, I can't. It's at least more than 10, 15 years ago. I was working as a driver for FedEx, and my route was out there like Lake Butler, Stark, Lottie, and I was looking for something to listen on the radio. And like my stops out there was between like 30 and 45 minutes, so I needed something to listen to. And I think he had Charles Barkley on, and I just liked his style. It was different than what I listened to.
It's so different. I love
it is. Now, it was a long time. I had never called or whatever because I didn't want to get run. Like, you know what he does to people if you don't bring it,
right?
You're going to get roasted. You really are. And I called a little before in the past, and it was okay, so I got by. But the one that really kind of just made me a legend in the jungle, people have to go out there and find it. I think it was right before that 2017 season with Blake Bortles before we made that run. But I was I just wasn't feeling it, you know, like I just couldn't feel it with this team. And I told Jim Rome, I said, look, I don't pay money for these season tickets. And the only thing I could do is go to the game, get drunk, and find tenderonis and take them home for the night and ruin them. And I said I was out. And he, even years now later, he plays that clip. You know, that got me in the smack off. I did get run because I think my phone was like messing up. So I tried. I tried. I think I got invited back one or two more times, but I was just unable to participate. But I did call a few times and actually a couple tweets, you know, that he loved to read. And that's how I got Gloss the Queen. Sometimes if I call, he'll put me to the head of the line. It's like automatic.
Nice.
You know, so I love being a clone. I love being Gloss the Queen. And like I said, he said, I made that seat my throne on the draft stage. Like, he was like, they didn't need to do anything else that draft night after I came up there. He was like, I shut it down. And I was like, I agree.
And for people who don't know who Jim Rome is, I mean, this isn't like calling into your local radio show. No offense to 1010XL. We absolutely love you guys. But this isn't, and also not just a national radio. I mean, this guy is legendary for not just sports radio. This guy's going to go down in history as one of the best, in my opinion, as one of the best radio shows of all time, not just in the sports category and at any category, because it's such a unique experience that, I mean, I think even if you don't like sports, what you get from it, not just from him, but the way that he works with the audience, like Nika, I mean, the calls are quality. Everything he goes over is quality. And it's such a different perspective that, I mean, I just want people who are listening to understand how awesome it is that Nika is recognized by the Jim Rome. That's pretty epic.
Yeah. And I tell people, I say, look, if you ain't got it, if you can't bring it with Jim, don't call. You will get your feelings hurt. The clones, they do not forget anything, and they will remind you daily.
Yeah. It's awesome. Do you have any questions, Cody, for her about any of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like,
no smells.
I mean, so going back to the draft, he said that you made that seat your throne. It really did look like that. It looked like it was meant to be that way.
Yeah, it was comfortable, but like I said, it's one of those people that suck your ass in, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I got to do the rock. to get up type thing. So like it was a real chair. It was really used. It wasn't no fake thing that they brought out just cause like no, that was the real deal type
So,
chair.
so your experience after the draft, it was in Cleveland, you said.
Yeah, I
Did
would
you get to
say
experience the city at all?
like it's like it was weird. Like I said, you're still in that COVID phase where now everybody we are all
Oh yeah,
vaccinated,
that's right.
and we had
Yeah.
all just got vaccinated, and so the city it was kind of like a little deserted. We all didn't get to get together too much and do much. I really didn't travel anywhere outside of just the hotel in between the draft stage. Actually, I didn't
Okay.
didn't go anywhere outside of that. Um, like I said, it was just weird, a little weird. It was like
Yeah.
we're just getting back out, like trying to figure out how to act. And I would have to say, after I got on stage and going back to my seat, of course my phone's like blowing up. It's off the hook. Um, and I didn't even get to stay the whole night because I had an interview with Channel 4 at 6 o'clock the next morning. And
Wow.
so I was getting those kind of calls and messages and people wanting to talk to me, and it was like kind of like that all through the next day till at one point I kind of just start turning stuff down because I wanted to experience what was going
Right.
on around me. And I was like, you know what, I've done enough. I mean, there's not too much I could tell about what happened. Everybody's seen it. And then plus my brother was tired of playing like manager, like people wanted to take pictures and everything. So at that point, I was just like, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is or what else to experience. And, I wasn't trying to be rude, or I said, I just can't satisfy everybody. And I want to just soak this up. And so that's kind of what I did. I might not, I really didn't take a whole bunch of pictures myself because I said, there's going to be other people out there who have pictures for me. And to this day, I'm still getting like pictures or people like, oh, I was there. I didn't know that's you. I have found this in my phone. So I'm still getting pictures and stuff from the experience of it all. And also into that, I want to add, because I don't know if you can see the ring, the bling
Yeah,
here.
it's
This was
blinding my
not
eyes.
this was not originally a part of the fan of the year. The group of us, we wanted something like to commemorate it a little more. We were trying out things, but if you don't have the copyright or from the NFL or the teams, you can't get anything made. So we
Mm.
figured, well, why don't we ask the NFL? They can only just tell us no, we're in the same boat. And NFL said, sure, you can make a ring, but it has to be with our ring makers, and you can only get one, and we have to approve of the design.
Wow.
So we worked with Jostens and the NFL. We all of us picked a design, and so NFL says, sure, you can get your rings. We can only get it like I guess like it opens up like once a year for the new people to come, and if you didn't get it the year before, you can get yours. But we had to pay for it ourselves. But it took about a good year because they had to do the copyright with the NFL and then all 32 teams as well. And
That's
so
cool.
now fan of the years, they can purchase a ring. There's two options. I went with the least expensive because I wasn't about to drop 3K on the ring. It was the sentimental value on this one was enough, and I still paid enough for this one. But so we kind of did that ourselves, got the ring thing going. So we get bling now
That's
if you
awesome.
want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um.
awesome.
So they're starting a new fan of the year process. They recently had the application that you could fill out on
Yes.
Jaguars.com.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for new people that want to become fan of the year, I mean, you kind of you walk through that that whole
Yeah.
process and all that stuff.
It,
But
yeah. I just tell people right now it's in the nomination
come on,
process.
okay,
Yeah, it's not people say go vote for me. It's not votes. Uh, People nominate a whole bunch of nominations with nothing in it. They're most likely going to throw it away. And I've talked to other fan of the years and stuff, and they've talked to teams of how their process is, and they say they get a bunch of them with people just nominating people, but no substance. They throw it
Mhm.
out, and they kind of bundle them together and take one or two and read. So it's not how many you send in. So that's why I was saying before is quality over quantity. But once you win the nomination, after that, that's where the whole Captain Morgan sponsorship and stuff came in, where now they're voting and you have to go get votes to be the overall fan of the year. And the only I would say the downside about that is some of the nominees, they're not into social media. Like some of the ones in our group, some of those people, they don't get on Facebook, they don't get on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. So they're not going to go out there and get votes, shot for votes. And the ones who just had to go through it this past season, some of them say, I'm not really comfortable going out and asking for votes. That's kind of not what I do. That's not my fandom. So that, but it comes, like I said, it comes with the sponsors. So that's when you get to vote, people. But right now it's nomination process. You want to get it in now before the season starts, and make sure you write something good. We're ready to welcome the 2023 Jags Fan of the Year.
Nice.
Right.
If you don't mind, I've pulled up your Twitter/X account, and it's got a video of it's the pinned post on your X account.
Right.
Mind if we just kind of show it for the world to see?
Go ahead.
All right. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong tab. There we go. So this is the whole weekend there, correct?
Yes, the whole weekend. And I don't know. I think I might. I don't know. I ended up being like just a lot of different people, so it was cool.
So where's this?
This was before you go on stage. So I guess like if you saw it back there in the back where the draftees would come and walk out. So
Okay.
that's the track.
That's where they would take the picture real quick, or whatever, before they went on stage.
Yeah, like they would come through that when you see them walking up to that stage. That stage is long. Like taking that walk up there to that podium, it takes forever.
I bet the wind is scooting right through there, huh?
Oh yeah, it cut through. Like I said, they lied when they say, "Oh, it'll block all the wind." No, it was a lie. It was a total lie. And the Titans fan, Brandon, he won it for overall that year. I give him a pass. I don't F the Titans with him too much. And it was nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
All that makeup. I can like see the makeup. It's ugh.
Yeah, that makeup that I wear, at least the eyeshadow, I have to get that off of Vaseline.
Oh no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about I'm talking about
what's that? The Isley Brothers, or who was that?
I know, it was after that.
Him right there.
Oh
you
yeah.
Can like, but I get it. You have to do it for the TV and the lights. I get it.
Right, so it can show up. So
right, yeah, I know why they do it. It's just, man, that's
right. And sitting at state, I'm like, I didn't know they had bleachers. I don't think I could sit in an NFL game.
Yeah,
bleachers, like the whole time. And also with us in the inner circle were Baptist healthcare workers. That's who the Jaguars sent.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then here you are on the throne, right? And
yes, there I am on the throne. Making it mine. And it's another fan of the year, buddy. Yeah. And who knew where Zach Wilson would be now after all of that? Or Trey Lance. It was kind of raining a little bit during that, so that kind of made it kind of
nice.
And yes, there was a Jaguar party there, which was nice. And I did take some fireball shots before I went in.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I have to find the tab. There's so many tabs open right now. We'll go through the comments again real quick. Josh Allen says, who's your all-time fave Jags player?
I would have to say it would be Tony Brackens.
Wow. Let's throw it back.
Throw it back. That's my first jersey. That was my grandfather brought me. And it just kind of goes back to this Jaguars always having that stellar like defense. It just seemed that I always resonated with that, just defense. Yeah. I don't think I've ever bought offensive jersey. It's always been defense.
Interesting.
So that's Tony Bracken's like my guy.
Gabriel Ruiz. TIA Bank has the best rat burgers. I'm gonna give any time to that one. Then West Virginia Mountain says, I tried to get a WWE belt made with a team logo. The maker priced at $75K because of copyright licensing. Insane. Yeah,
They
that
got to
stuff
get
is insane.
permission.
It's all about money, right?
Yeah.
That's why you gotta get a WCW belt. They're not around anymore.
WWF.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just move right into it. So this Saturday, I kind of talked about at the beginning of the show, America's County versus America Team. That's what I like to call it because Duval County, right?
Right.
America's former team, the Dallas Cowboys. They played in Dallas at Jerry's World, and I think the Jaguars had a lot of fun playing at Jerry's World. I don't know about you guys, but it looked like they had a good time. The Jaguars did end up coming out with a win, but obviously the first 2 or 3 drives were probably the only ones that really mattered. I mean, obviously later in the game, seeing our depth and how they perform is important, but us fans were scratching and clawing for just to see some action from our shiny offense. I would say new, but I mean, for the most part, everyone's back. The only new guy is really Calvin Ridley.
Right.
Other than that, most of our players are returners as far as offensive weapons go. So, what did you think, Nika, of those first couple drives with the starters in? What are your thoughts?
Well, it was kind of bland, I would say. I don't think they're really game planning for that game too much. It was, you see Trevor throw a interception, like, yeah, you don't want to see that. And who was that? Dougie's P said it slipped out of his hand. I'm like, okay, Doug, whatever you say.
Yeah.
No, Trevor just
Yeah.
threw a bad pass, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of go back and looking at it, and I'm seeing the 2 wide receivers over there. So I'm thinking, is it a bad route? Just a bad busted play? It just, whatever it was, it didn't work. You don't want to see that, but then again, I'm like, I'd rather them get it all out in preseason.
Yeah.
But they were able to get it back after the defense kind of was getting after it. These guys searching out the ball there. And it was like they got that little flutter out of their system. Bam, bam, bip, move it down, get your touchdown, get your 2-point, sit down and hold your clipboard. And that's kind of what I wanted to see from that first same drive before Trevor chucked it or whatnot. And I don't want, I don't know if I'm at this point now, but like Trevor's like a gunslinger, maybe like, not maybe like Favre, but are we going to have to like live and die with him just sometimes just throwing the ball and making these decisions? Sometimes you like scratch your head. He shouldn't make them, but he's able to pull us out of whatever it is he gets us into. I don't want it to be like that, but I'm like, is that something that we might have to live with? His game it remains to be seen. But I would have to say, they did what they were supposed to do. I was kind of looking I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna get this nice bomb to Calvin Ridley, just go down the field, and you didn't get that. But I like to think maybe they're saving it. So the first drive or two, it was okay. No harm, no foul. They got some work in.
That's a good point you bring up with Trevor. Like it feels like, I mean, there was some like passes I seen Aaron Rodgers make, and it seems like if Trevor is just like a little teeny tiny more accurate, whatever, it could be those type of passes that leads them into better places. But yeah, that route, it looked like Calvin led his man over to like what would have been like a clear Ingram pass for the interception. And then it was like with Doug after the press conference or whatever, saying like, oh, his hand slipped. Like, yeah, I would have covered for my guy too.
Yeah, those first couple drives, what I really liked about it was, even though Trevor Lawrence did come out and did throw that pick, like he bounced back, had that short memory that they're supposed to have in the NFL. Forget what happened last play, we're on the next play. And clearly, and that drive, whenever the special teams, that was nice to see, because the special teams, I know that a lot of people say, well, they were playing against the second teams, third teams, yada, yada, yada. But the special teams player, whenever we had knocked the ball loose and recovered that the fumble punt, that was actually their Pro Bowl returner for the Cowboys. So it's not like we knocked the ball out of some Joe Schmo's hand who's going to be on the street in a couple weeks. That was their Pro Bowl guy on specials teams that we were able to knock the ball out of and recover. With what was it, Gregory Jr.
Gregory Jr. Right,
recovered it.
Right, and I remember him. They drafted him last year. I can't remember what where he was drafted, but I do remember his name, and I was like, oh, I remember him, but I didn't see him last year. It looked like he's put in some work because he was around the ball.
Yeah, I know training camp. There's a lot of praise coming out of training camp with him, and they're saying there's a possibility because really the only spot on any side of the ball where there's potentially competition for the starting job is Trey Herndon's spot. And they're saying that he might have a shot at taking over the number one role. I don't think that'll be the case. If it is, it'll be later on in the season. But
right, I'm all for it. Of basically, we drafted a guy and we're bringing him along, and he's developing. Like, that's what you want to see. That's what we need to see going forward. Drafting these guys, they may not make the contribution this year, but they're ready to step up the next season, and that's how you go about building your teams. And we won't get into that trouble of overspending in free agency because we drafted poorly, because we are still paying for that with Chason. Yeah, that is that is
I mean, but with our depth now, it's like for those long drive situations, we can swap guys out. Like, people don't have to get tired anymore and stay out there just because they're the only name that can make a play. So with people like Gregory Jr. and Trey Herndon or whatever, it doesn't have to be like one or the other. It could be both.
Right. And that's if you're going into that, we put our second and thirds out there, and usually in the past it was like a big drop off, and you'd be like, oh, here they go, and like, oh boy, we're in trouble if anything happens to anybody we got on the first string. And these guys were holding their own. They were after the ball. They were, pretty decent, and there wasn't that big huge drop off that you would see. So I was like, oh, this is the progress.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, there's a lot of guys that are not going to make this team, especially I don't think Snoop Connor's going to make this team.
No, I thought that was a horrible pick when they made the pick, and I think it's a horrible pick now. But nothing against Snoop, like,
nothing against him.
I hope he goes for 10,000 yards for the rest of his life, but for today he is not the guy I want to see on the field. But
dude, out of the Baki picks that you don't like, there's only like 2
so far.
Yeah. That's a huge pat on the back for somebody that we were wearing clown makeup for.
I mean, maybe it worked. I mean, I know a lot of people frowned on the whole clown movement thing, but at the time, that's how fans felt. It's how you felt, and you're just expressing that. And my thing is, like, at least they showed up to the game. Granted, they were in clown makeup, but they came to the game.
That's right.
They at least cared.
I hit it out like how was that any worse than the Jaguars? Like,
right?
It got more attention, like wearing the makeup or whatever, the afros and stuff like that, than putting like a literal bag over your head or whatever.
Yeah, and obviously, Balky was into it. I know in the hunt they were showing the little clown doll sitting on his desk or whatnot. Yeah. Maybe he's trolling or whatever. But hey, if it gets their attention, but I see that as a passionate fan base. They care.
Exactly.
Fan base that doesn't make any kind of movements, doesn't do anything, then don't show up. That's when you're like, you're in trouble. But we care.
Right. It's like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like, it's baseball, but like if you look at the Tampa Bay Rays in baseball, year in, year out, they're competing for a banner, like a championship, but they don't get anybody that ever shows up to the stands. I mean, you'd think that they were on the bottom of the league, but in fact, they're one of the best teams in the league, but their fans just don't show up. Here, the Jaguars, I mean, that's where the passion shows, right? It shows whether you're winning or you're losing, and you're going to know how we feel about it. And so I'm fine with it all.
One of the main things that like other fans of other teams say about us is like, oh, like Jaguars have fans.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, buddy, like to the point where like fans are making national media attention.
Right.
Like when we're not good.
Right,
I mean?
and I'm like, have you heard of Jaguars Twitter? Have you run into them? I don't think they're not a lot you want to piss off.
Yeah,
If
for sure.
anything, like Jags Twitter is people you do not want to tangle with at
Yeah.
all. I mean, they've destroyed careers and lives out there.
But yeah, so those first couple series is nice to see Trevor Lawrence bounce back, and of course that short field where they, because of the fumble recovery, man,
Right.
it was a smooth drive. It's like they picked up where they left off last year, and of course the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, man, that was, both of them were beautiful, and
Right.
I'm happy to see it wasn't like, well, it was the first game, and yeah, they didn't put it in the end zone. They're still knocking the rust off. They knocked the rust off after the first series.
Right.
It's
And
great
that's
to
what we
see.
want to see it that start. Like they need to start quicker. They
Start
can't have
fast.
these slow starts and where they're having to come and make it up on the back end. No, do it in the beginning where your defense doesn't have to make these miraculous plays or the bend but don't break, because I do think our defense is the weakness right now of our
Yes.
team, even because they had to go kick tires on Jadeveon Clowney when they
Yeah.
could have been kicking tires earlier on other people who started to get snapped up. I'm like, oh, now you
Thank you.
want to go and kick tires? Like,
Yeah, thank you.
you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, guys. But I guess they feel confident in what they have back there. They're going to have to be, because I mean, what's truly else out there? Who can they go get?
Let's
That's the
jump
question.
jump into the chat real quick. Theo White says the pass rush was nice. Yeah, they got in the backfield, which was nice. Then he says FAFO. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's like, he was talking about Jags Twitter, and that means
Oh.
and find out.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They got to throw the first punch on
They do.
teams. And then defense is hit or miss. Yeah, like Nika said, defense is definitely going to be our weakest spot. Our team may put up 30 points at least every single game.
We're just going to have to outscore everybody.
But we might give up 30 plus points every game, which is kind of unfortunate. It's so interesting because in the years past, I remember thinking, if our offense could only score 20 points, we'll win every single game. And now it's reversed. If our offense can score 40 points a game, we'll win every game, So
Right.
Well, I want to bring this up because last season, our defense got us out of some hairy situations.
In the beginning.
It was like watching the whole season, it was like the defense is playing good, and then the next game the offense is playing good, the defense is playing bad. And I was like, can y'all just click? Can we have like a solid
at the same
team?
time? Like same time, guys, show up together at the same time.
Right. And they did for like the second half of the Chargers game, or like for what was it, the Ravens game? Like they, that was good, but it was just like the Washington game, it was the defense. I mean, we thought that we were going to have like a solid defense, the entire rest of the year based off of that first game.
Right.
And then Trevor Lawrence like goes in and throws, or how many picks against the Eagles. I mean, it was raining, but is that really?
Yeah, that was kind of ugh. And I'm thinking like, if it wasn't raining, they would have. I think they would have won that game.
Yeah, I think the quarterbacks list, like I think Trevor Lawrence should be above Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
and it was like based off of that game alone or whatever. If it this is how I personally feel, but if it wasn't raining, like that would have been an entirely different outcome. And I can't wait to see them or Burrow or Herbert again, just to because this QB list right now is just like, are you serious, guys?
Right.
I mean, Burrow has 100% earned being above Trevor Lawrence. I love Trevor Lawrence, but Joey Burrow, man, that guy is unreal. So
yeah,
I will give you though that I think he should be above Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is an excellent quarterback, but personally, if I were starting a team from scratch and I had the option between the two, I mean, I would pick Trevor Lawrence all day, every day. So, but
yes. So let's do that real quick. Burrow or Lawrence?
I mean,
y'all really about to say Joe Burr?
No, I'm gonna say Trevor. I'm always gonna say
Trevor.
I don't care. I'm gonna always go for Trevor. It's my guy.
dude, you can't do what you did in that Chargers playoff or whatever and not. Like, I don't know if Burrow has ever came back from a deficit like that.
But has he needed
Anybody.
to? Did he put his team in a hole to need to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was great what Trevor Lawrence did in the second half.
You just
But
wish he never had to do that.
It's
You
what
don't
he did
want
in
him
the
to have
first
to.
half that made it so much more glorious, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it ever like fully clicked, I mean, that's, you know, Jags by 50 against the Chargers. You know, if he never made those mistakes or whatever, we're talking about like an absolute blowout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He had to make it a little suspenseful. He had to put a little razzle dazzle on it for us. We're getting too big for our britches.
That was his first year with Doug Marrone.
Peterson?
Yeah. I mean, Doug Peterson.
Oh, no!
Oh my God.
Call him New Doug. We call him New Doug. That's what we started calling him, New Doug.
Dougie P.
New Doug.
Oh my God. Pug Dieterson, dude.
Okay, so going back to the game. Again, we talked about it earlier. There's not a whole lot you can talk about. We're happy with the first couple drives, but is there anything that stood out to you, Nika, from the players that we drafted this year?
Well, Anton's name wasn't called, so I guess that's a good thing. He didn't mess up. Like, if he did his assignments, from what I could see or what I read, that there was just he did what he was supposed to do, or what was asked of him to do in this game. You know, playing well. Who was in front of him? Heard nothing about Walker Little, but there was a lot of penalties. I think there were some. So that's something they got to clean up, the penalties. Like, you don't want to get into that. So whatever that is that they done got into, where they had so many, I think they had like 5 or 6 in the first half, this quarter, something like that.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, so like, clean that up. I want to clean that up. But that's really the only person I noticed. That, and Tank's Big had a nice little run there.
Yeah.
And who's that? Strange and Farrell made that nice block.
Yep.
Over there on the end. So, like I said, as far as tight ends go, I think Ingram, Farrell, and Strange, those are our dudes for tight ends on this team. I don't know if they're going to keep a fourth.
I haven't seen any shows of yours with recently, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy were you when you found out the Jaguars re-signed Ingram?
I was like, oh, thank God, because I tried, because there really wasn't anything behind him.
There were your typical tight ends that the Jags have had for decades, right?
Right. It was just kind of, who's over there? Who's out there today? I mean, kind of thing. Like, what's his name? Is he a tight end? Bring him on in. That's kind of what it was, like I said, Manhurst, even though he was here briefly, and Arnold, they weren't anything to gush all that about.
Yeah. Like, looking back, I was excited when we had Dan Arnold, when we made that trade with CJ Henderson. I'm still glad, because Henderson,
right,
be gone with yourself. But
yeah,
Arnold performed pretty good. But just like, and that just goes to show like what we've become accustomed to as a Jaguars fan base, having when Arnold comes in and he wows you, and like that's not what a tight end is in 2023. A tight end is what Evan Ingram did. Like, when they re-signed him, I was so happy, because it feels like we truly, as an organization, are really turning that page and to become a legitimate franchise that can compete year in and year out. Because again, it's 2023. If you don't have a legitimate pass catching tight end, kudos to Mercedes Lewis. I love the guy, but he was not the threat consistently that Evan Ingram is.
Right.
And I'm so happy.
Yeah, and the fact that we were his second chance, because he up there in New York, he was kind of just like dead man walking.
Yeah.
If he didn't make it down here, that was it. And like you said, sometimes it's that change of scenery. I mean, how many times we've seen a player leave here, like, we think he's utter crap, and he goes somewhere else and he's like, has this nice long career and he's playing and balling out. But like, well, why the heck he couldn't do that here? So it's finally nice to be on the other side of that. Like, we sign a guy and we could keep him, and he makes a contribution to this team.
I think it's so impactful, and I hope I hope Strange builds becomes what Ingram is now, and then when Ingram's contract ends, Strange becomes the next Ingram. But for the next 3 years, I think is what it is. We've got Ingram, and I'm so excited. So
yeah, instead of paying millions for like free agents or whatever for them to come and play like a couple of seasons, we're now re-signing players that are calling Duval home.
Duval.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Right.
Who was it? Demarius? No, it wasn't Demarius Thomas. Who was the tight end that we signed from Denver?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It was Thomas. Wasn't it something Thomas maybe? No.
Something. Oh my gosh. I have his face in my. I have his face. I know who he is, but I like it's tip of the tongue. Gosh, why can't we remember? Because one of those Facebook memory things come up. I've seen a picture of him signing a football for my nephew. Oh my gosh, because he was the thing in Denver,
Julius Thomas.
Oh.
And he was it in Denver, and he got here and was.
Well, he was a product of Peyton Manning, 100%.
Yeah, he really was. I mean, Peyton got him paid. They put it like that. Peyton got him paid, and Jaguars was still that destination you come to just get a check and relax.
Man,
and not like that anymore.
Yeah, that's a brutal way to put it, but that's exactly how it was.
3 years, $42 million, $24 million guaranteed. Okay, right. Awesome. Thank you for that, Theo. He showed the contract for Evan Ingram. Yeah, so I'm just so glad. And I was thinking about Julius Thomas the other day, and man, and it wasn't the Jaguars' fault. Like you said, Peyton got him paid. It wasn't anything to do with our scheme. We just didn't have top 3 quarterback of all time throwing the ball to him.
Right. And he left and dropped off the face of the earth.
Exactly.
Like, does anybody know where that man is?
It wasn't us.
Heard nothing from him. It's like he's scared people were going to ask for the money back or something.
Okay, so that's a little bit about the rookies. Now, let me ask you this question, Nika.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars organization are coming to you and they want your feedback. Who do we keep as our backup quarterback? Do we go with Nathan Rourke? or do we go with Beathard?
Oh man. Well,
wait. While you're thinking about your answer, let me go ahead and just go ahead and pull up something for you that might help you. Where is it? Here it is. No, that's not it. Where is it?
You're like a boomer with a new computer, dude.
No, I have like 50,000 windows open.
Oh, no.
Here it is.
Yeah, just like a boomer would.
Status.
You got 120 tabs on your Chromebook. Why is this computer so slow?
Oh, here it is. Here we go.
Rourke swung, stays on his feet somehow, will have a chance to get it away, and he completes it for a touchdown. Olesen worked free, but Rourke did the magician work.
You're like, what? What just happened?
That came from the Jaguars, the official X account, right? That's the Dallas Cowboys broadcast.
This is your opportunity. He sits
That's
back
not
here.
Brian
The offensive line
talking.
actually gets destroyed. Shakes 1 man, 2 man, 3, 4. Keeps his eyes down the field. Finds his receiver down the end. Boom, that's a touchdown. Great job by the converted quarterback / receiver.
All those guys got cut.
Not really sure.
You were no longer a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, okay, they couldn't even get in the locker room afterwards.
So after seeing that, let me ask you the question again. Who would you keep as your backup quarterback to Trevor freaking Lawrence? Would it be?
It's too early.
The incumbent?
I would have to say Beathard for right now because I've only seen this gentleman. Although I heard in the CFL, like dude's on fire there.
Yes,
like, he has something which I kind of see, but he did this in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
so
most of those guys are gonna be on the street in a couple weeks.
Right. They're going to be doing local car commercials, huh? Like Zach Wilson. Okay. But
oh, wow. The shade.
Right. But I would have to see. I would want to see him play against the twos. Maybe switch up who starts after Trevor sits down. Give Rourke a little more playing time against the big boys. See what he really has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
I'm
think
with
he's
I think
earned that?
I think we keep Beathard, and I think we should trade Rourke to maybe the Titans.
No,
that man.
no.
He deserves better than that.
No.
I mean, and I don't know if they'll be able to stash him on their practice squad.
No, he's not going to be a practice squad player.
Oh, he'll be a starter.
Like you said in the CFL, he lit up the CFL. I want to say he was putting up like records. So he won't be on anybody's practice squad. He'll be kind of like Gardner Minshew. He'll be backup
somebody's backup, and if that's the only thing, I think somebody were Jaguars Twitter was arguing over the backup quarterback. Like that's what we've come to. We have our guy, and we're arguing over who the backup quarterback is. I guess that's a nice space to be in. But I would want to see him do a little bit more. I would love to try to hide him on his team, but not with that tape and resume. There's no hiding him. So
no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Beathard, he's proven himself. He's put in his time. He's earned the right to be the backup. But I also think Nathan Rourke has also earned the chance to have a shot at that second.
Give it to him.
So
let him have it.
We'll see. You think they give him some more reps the next couple games?
I would think so. I would hope so. I don't know how much they're going to play during Detroit game. I haven't heard anything. Have you heard how much they said the starters going to play? Maybe a quarter?
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
So and then as far as that third preseason game, I don't even know. I can't remember. I hate preseason. Yeah.
No one's gonna be playing in that third.
Right. There's nobody. So shoot. Get him a start right after Trevor sits down. Let him have a series or two.
Yeah.
To see.
Okay. Well, any other thoughts from before we close out the show? Any thoughts from the game that you'd like to share with the Jaguars fan battle world?
No. I think pretty much it's like everybody else. We preseason kind of escaped it uninjured, except for Rob. I know Ross, our long snapper.
Yeah.
I know they signed Tinker. Have anybody heard how is the injury that bad, or are they just bringing in Tinker just the camp body so Ross doesn't have to do any playing? Like I haven't heard anything.
They're saying it isn't expected to be too serious. So there's a little bit of
precautionary. Just
that's what it looks like. But the team might just be putting out vague signals for some reason. It's a long snapper. I'm not sure why they would be secretive about it, but
right, because it's just weird. I thought I would hear something by now, but yeah. So besides that, I just hope we get through the rest of the training camp with bodies intact and ready to go for the regular season.
That's right. The best ability is availability, right?
That's right.
What about you, Cody? Any last thoughts on this past weekend's dub?
On this past weekend's, the preseason game? No, man, I'm just excited that we have Dev, and I said that before. That's the main thing. And watching those guys after spending all season looking at the rookies and their stat lines and stuff like that, seeing them actually out there in a Jaguars uniform was exciting for me. But there should be like one preseason game and then done. Like I'm ready for the regular season to start already. It was cool though because Anton Harrison, went to training camp and he was not with the team at all. Like as far as like doing practice, he was doing like individual drills by himself because he had a shoulder thing. But then he comes out in preseason and looks like a pro. It looks like he was practicing with him the whole entire time. So if somebody like that could be, I mean, he's a first round pick, but if they could already be that good and ready to go, I mean, what are we waiting for?
For the season to start, the real season.
Yeah.
That's what we're waiting for. So
right.
Well, awesome. Before we let you go, Nika, where can we find you? Talk about, when your shows are, everything.
Yeah, you can find First and Teal the podcast we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter. We're not on the Blue Sky yet. Um, as you can find anywhere podcasts are out, we're on Buzzsprout, Apple, Amazon, Google. You can find us. And as far as our episodes go, we try to record the day after the game. Try to let our feelings kind of settle and depending on how the outcome of the game is. And so usually about Mondays or Tuesdays, you can catch a new podcast from us. So yeah, look for us at First and Teal. And my personal Twitter is at Nika989.
Cool, and I've got it on below for everyone to see. So please go check her out at Nika989 First and Teal. Some pretty cool stuff, like that video of her in Cleveland. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Cleveland, but Cleveland's got to have something, I guess.
It's okay.
And what about you, Cody? Where can we find you?
At Cody Cole Gaming on X, Facebook, and that's about it. Go listen to First and Teal. It's a really good podcast.
Thank you.
And you can find me on X at Matthew G Sports. Please go follow us on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Jags Fan Battle. We would super appreciate it. And just a reminder, you can also find our content at fanbattlesports.com. It's that ticker that's crossing. Plenty of content there from the AFC South Fan Battle Network. A lot of really cool content from all the teams in the AFC South, as well as our new show covering the Texas Longhorns. So a lot of really cool stuff going on at the network. Of course, the best part is the Jaguars Fan Battle, but I didn't need to tell you guys. And I echo what Cody said. Please go listen to First and Teal. And it sounds like they'll be going out Monday or Tuesday. Are you doing it for the preseason as well?
Yes, we're doing it for the preseason as well. Cool. And also listen to us in the future because we will be raffling off a pair of tickets to the Titans game. So check in.
Nice. I like that. Well,
are you copying me or am I copying you?
Well, everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been another edition of the Jaguars Fan Battle, a member of the AFC South Fan Battle Sports Network. Please like and share, comment everything. Share with the auntie, with your uncle, with your dog, with your niece, your teacher. Please share. We're trying to share the good gospel of the Jaguars with everyone. We'll see you next time.